Hello, welcome to Drawing 1 Art 121-40. My name is Jeremy Taylor. I will be your instructor for the fall semester. This is going to be a wonderful semester full of fun projects. We're going to focus on building basic drawing skills and focus on observation and life drawing. Drawing is like a language. We will start with the basics like line and continue to build and tackle more complicated subjects like portrait and value. This is going to be a packed semester with lots of information. We will cover contour drawing, gesture drawing, composition, perspective, positive-negative space, value drawing, portraiture, symbolism, and expressionism. Let's take a look at the syllabus to take a more specific look at what we're covering during the class. This is the syllabus, and you can access this on Canvas. At the top here, you can see my name, and below that, you can see my email, jtaylor@pvcc.edu. You can contact me there at any time. I usually respond to students within 12 hours, sometimes sooner. You can also contact me during my Zoom office hours, Monday and Thursday from 1 to 2 p.m. It's a really good time for students to speak with me individually if you're having problems or are having a hard time understanding concepts. Below that is meetings. We can meet with each other by appointment. It's really important for students to know that they can contact me, and we can schedule a time where we can meet individually. Also, you can text me at my number below at 434-227-8547 if you have any questions or you need any help or any assistance at any time. Course description. This course develops basic drawing skills and understanding of visual language through studio instruction and lecture. It introduces concepts such as proportion, space, perspective, value, and composition as applied to still life, landscape, and the figure. Course objective. The primary objective of this class is for students to develop visual observation skills through the fundamentals of drawing and composition. A strong awareness of the visual world will be enhanced through the drawing medium. The students will be exposed to an array of drawing techniques which will enable them to better translate what's observed in three-dimensional space into a two-dimensional plane. Over the course of the semester, the students will gain a greater understanding of the medium and will be able to cultivate their own creative approach and mode of personal expression. Course goals. Over the course of the semester, the student will 1. Gain a greater understanding of traditional and observational drawing, 2. Enhance their technical and problem-solving skills through the drawing medium, 3. Develop a greater understanding of composition, value, and construction, 4. Be able to cultivate their own creative approach and mode of personal expression. Course structure. This is a very important part of this class, so students know how an online class will operate for a drawing class. All course content will be delivered twice weekly, Mondays and Thursdays via Canvas. For each course unit or module, there will be a Canvas announcement discussing the lesson plan bi-weekly. For each unit, there will be an annotated lecture, video demonstration, and instruction on Canvas for students to watch before completing assignments. 4. Following the lecture and online demonstration, the instructor will follow up with an assignment project and handout. 5. Each student is expected to complete the course content before the next unit/module. There will be weekly deadlines for each unit. Since the class is asynchronous, it is the student's responsibility to view all the course content, follow demonstrations, and complete assignments on time. This is a rigorous class, so expect to work hard and maintain contact with a professor if you're having a hard time staying on track. The majority of this course will be spent working and developing drawing portfolio projects. Each project is designed to build upon the previous project. Not keeping up with course content can hinder this particular learning process, so participation is absolutely necessary. 7. For each assignment, there will be a discussion board on Canvas. The discussion board will be in the form of an in-progress critique or a final critique, depending on the assignment. It will be mandatory for students to comment on at least 2 to 3 works on Canvas anytime between the following class units. 8. Homework will be in the form of sketchbook assignments, tutorial videos, lectures, and projects. Projects will be posted in PDF format to the assignment page. Sketchbook assignments and portfolio projects will be submitted as JPEG photographs. Each student will be responsible to take photographs of their own work with a digital camera to share with the instructor for grading. 9. Students can contact me for individual meetings via Zoom, text, or email correspondence during office hours or scheduled meeting times. Course requirements. Students are required to read assigned materials, watch video lectures and tutorials, complete all assignments, and participate on Canvas discussions. Each student must purchase required materials and supplies. Topics of study: contour and blind contour, gesture drawing, perspective, positive-negative space, value and reductive drawing, the master study, portraiture, symbolism and expressionism. Attendance. Since this is an asynchronous class, this will be done a little bit differently than a normal class. If a student misses the first 2 weeks of class, you will be administratively dropped. For online anytime classes, which is an asynchronous class, students are expected to log into Canvas regularly to complete assignments and observe the course due dates. 3 full weeks of non-participation is subject to a failing grade for this class. If a student misses a module, the student is responsible for making up any missed work. This class is a cumulative class, and it will require approximately 5 hours of drafting a week. If you miss 1 week of class, it can greatly affect your next project, so it is important to stay on track. Course evaluation. Here's the percentage breakdown of what I'm going to be expecting for each student in this class. 20% of the student's grade is class exercises, 50% is class portfolio projects, 20% is class participation, 10% is sketchbook and quizzes. All grading and assessment will be done on Canvas. Class participation is based on each student's participation for each assignment and discussion board responses. The students are responsible for responding to online prompts and participating in modules in all online assignments. Exercise assignments, project assignments, videos, demonstrations, and discussion boards. Project grading is based on the student's individual problem-solving skills, participation, attitude, execution of assignments, craft and design, neatness in presentation, and clear understanding of concepts covered in class. A full letter grade will be deducted for every day an assignment is late. Students are largely in control of the grade they earn at the end of the semester. Decide early on what grade you're aiming for and set expectations for yourself to make this a reality. Read these examples below so that you can gain a greater understanding of what my expectations are for A, B, C, D, or F student. What I will expect of an excellent student, an above average student, an average, a below average, or a failing student. Academic honesty policy. Students must conduct themselves in compliance with the tenets of the PVCC honor system at all times. Piedmont Virginia Community College sets high standards for academic integrity and takes academic dishonesty very seriously. In an asynchronous class like this, it's very easy for students to take other people's work or have somebody else complete their work. It's very important for students to do all of their work on their own. I want the students to read over this net etiquette and appropriateness statement. Net etiquette is a way of defining professionalism through network communication. Meaningful and constructive dialogue is encouraged and requires willingness to listen, tolerance for different viewpoints, and mutual respect for all participants. The following guidelines are intended to create a productive learning atmosphere for all students in a variety of online learning environments. I want you to read this list below so that you get a greater understanding of what etiquette looks like in the classroom. Code of conduct. All students are expected to abide by the Code of Conduct. Students can access and download a copy of the Code of Conduct at pvcc.edu/files/media/codeofconduct.pdf. Students with disabilities. If you are a student with a disability who requires accommodations under the American Disabilities Act, the ADA, and Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, email Susan Hannafan at shannafan@pvcc.edu or call 434-961-5281 to schedule an appointment. Susan is wonderful. She's very helpful for accommodating students. She'll also let me know what I can do to help each individual student if there's an issue that needs to be covered. Withdrawal policy. Withdrawal from a class is the responsibility of the student. All students are responsible for verifying the accuracy of their schedules and changes made to their schedule via email or through the web. This may be done electronically by logging into MyPVCC. To obtain a refund of the course, it must be done by the end of the add drop period for the course. If you stop participating in the class, do not turn in assignments, or do not withdraw, you will receive a grade of an F. If you miss more than 2 consecutive modules, you may be withdrawn from the class. At the bottom here, we have the IT help desk and open computer lab information. This is really important so everybody knows their MyPVCC login, their student email, and if you have basic computer problems, you can contact the help desk. So I encourage you to read over this information. Canvas support. Students have access to Canvas support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In Canvas, click on Help at the bottom of the left blue menu. There you will find information and links to Canvas phone support, live chat guides, and a problem submission form. Reproduction of student work. Student artwork may be selected to scan or photograph. Some work may be printed, matted, and framed for display purposes and an inclusion in PVCC-related publications only. Work will not be sold or used for any other purpose. If you object to the use of your work, please contact your instructor. The next thing I'd like for us to go over is the drawing supply list. Let's take a look at what these individual items look like and follow along on your syllabus. Okay, so if we look at our supply list here, you can see our first supply is our 18 by 24 Strathmore medium drawing pad. We can see that this is what the drawing pad is going to look like. And it's hard to get it in the screen while I have it on this tripod. It's an off-white paper, which is really nice for beginning drawing students. And it's a nice size so that students can work bigger than they're normally used to working. But this is what I'm expecting you to get. Now, I'm going to have you guys working upright, meaning you'll probably be sitting at a stool and you'll be facing a subject that you'll be drawing. So you might need, because this is a little bit bigger, you might need something to bear down on, meaning you might need a board or something to bear down. The pad will act as a surface, but it will, flop over because it's a little bit, it has a cardboard backing, as you can see here. But yeah, this is the drawing pad that I want you guys to get. And it's hard to see it in full because it's so large, but it's spiral bound. It's also 80-pound paper, which means that we can apply ink to it. And this is what I'm expecting you guys to get for this class. All right. The next thing that we're going to look at is we're going to look at our sketchbook. I want it to be no smaller than 8 by 10. So we can see right here, we have a sketchbook. That's a Strathmore sketchbook. It's 9 by 12. It's 60 pound. It doesn't have to be this nice of a sketch pad, but something that we can draw and we can practice on. So this is, this is 100 sheets. My daughter's worked in this one, so it's a little used up. The next thing that we're going to look at is our drawing pencils. Now, drawing pencils are a little different than regular pencils. So the pencils that you're probably used to looking at have erasers on them. But if you can look at these are drawing pencils and they're different forms. Like a Derwent here and a Kimberly here. And the difference between the H's is that they are lighter colored. And as we get into the B's, they start getting darker. So we'll have a range of different color graphite. And our goal is to have a range from 2H to 6B. So we'll have let's take a 2H and you can kind of see what it looks like. It's a little bit lighter and harder. And then if we go to our 2B, which is somewhere in the middle of our scale, we can see that it's a little darker. And then if we go further down the scale, let's try to get something that's darker than that. 6B right here, we can see that it's much darker. So it gives you a range of value. All right, the next thing that we're going to get is we're going to get vine charcoal. Now, vine charcoal is just a charred vine. It's usually a willow vine or a grapevine, and we use it as a drawing material, and we can see that it will make a nice mark. Now, I want you to get the soft variety, and that will allow us to make darker marks. And usually it comes in a box like this. And I want us to get between 8 and 12 sticks so that we have enough to work with. All right. Next thing that I'd like for us to look at is our compressed charcoal. And our compressed charcoal, now this is a larger container. I only need you guys to get 2 pieces, 2 to 4 pieces. 2 is fine. And this is a much darker charcoal. We can see it right here. And you can see I have some vine kind of snuck in here. And the compressed charcoal is much darker. You can see it. It gives us a much darker, wider line. And the next thing that we're going to look at is our Conte crown. Now I'm only requiring you guys to get the black Conte crown. Now black Conte, and I'm going to open this up so we can kind of look at it. The black Conte crown has a little bit more wax. For example, in regular charcoal we can smudge it. It doesn't have any wax in it, so it can be blended. Where this has a little bit more wax in it, it gives us a little bit more of a precise line. And it doesn't blend as well. Is everybody kind of seeing that? Because it has wax in it. I am not requiring you to do this, but you guys can get white Conte crown and you can get the sanguine. Sometimes that's a really nice option to have when we get into the more advanced assignments. All right. Kneaded eraser. So a kneaded eraser is a little bit different than a regular eraser. Kind of is like a gray piece of rubber, and it comes wrapped up. It almost looks like a piece of chewing gum, some weird piece of sticky rubber. And what it does is it really allows us to pick up the charcoal, and specifically a charcoal eraser. So I'm going to unwrap it really quickly. If I can get this undone. And what we can do is we can see that it erases really well on this charcoal. Everybody's kind of seeing that. So it's really a nice tool. And when it gets dirty like this, what we can do is and the reason it's called a kneaded eraser is we can physically knead it. And it will allow us to continue kind of renewing the eraser. So it's a really wonderful supply. All right. The next thing we have is a white eraser or white plastic eraser. I don't want us to get a pink rubber eraser. I want us to have a white eraser. It really gives us a good clean erasure mark on something like a pencil mark. Is everybody kind of seeing that? And then the next thing I'm going to require you guys is to get a utility knife. Now it can just be a simple plain utility knife, one that's a breakable one. Or you guys can, if you have like an X-Acto blade or something a little more fancy, you can do that as well. So you can have something like that. All right. A crow quill. A crow quill is just a simple quill pen. And I'm going to have you guys doing some ink and pen and ink drawings. And we're going to use either super black or Bombay black ink. These are the 2 ink types that I'm going to have you get. And what we'll be doing is we'll be drawing more calligraphic lines with this ink. And I'm not going to open the super black. I'm just going to do the Bombay because it's already open here. And you can kind of see we can make some lines with this. And it will give us a lot of control. All right. And so we have the super black. And I'm going to leave these kind of like right in our view here. And I will adjust this so we can kind of see what we have. I also want you guys to have a medium tip round brush. This is a medium tip round brush. Now this one's a little bit smaller. They have numbers on them. This is a 2 and this is a 4. I'm going to recommend you getting a 2 or a 4. It just depends on how fine of detail you want to get. I like having a finer detail, but when we get to doing bigger areas, which we're going to do in our positive negative space study, you're going to find that you're going to want something thicker. So, you're more than welcome to buy 2, but I'm only requiring you to buy 1. All right. A cheap pencil sharpener. Now, there's ranges of pencil sharpeners. here's a pencil sharpener that's like maybe a medium grade, something that would cost around like, I don't know, $6. And then we have something that's cheap, that would be about $2. And then we have something that would be maybe about 50 cents to $1. So there's ranges. I just need you to be able to sharpen your pencils so that you can regularly have a fine tip on your drawing tool. And let's keep these right here. And the next thing I'd like for us to have is a paper portfolio. Now, a paper portfolio is optional. You can use 2 pieces of cardboard to create a hinge and create a paper portfolio. It's not mandatory that you get a portfolio because I won't be picking up a portfolio in an asynchronous class, but it's nice to store your art in something. You can always store it in the back of your drawing pad, but I'm not requiring you to get a portfolio, but I'm saying that it might be something that you want to get. Sometimes a portfolio will be made out of plastic or paper. Usually has handles, as we can see here. And it will have maybe a closure, where you can open and close it. So, something that you might want to get to put your artwork in or store it while you're working. I'm also requiring you to get a 14 to 18 inch ruler. I don't really need to show you what a ruler looks like. And I'm also requiring you to get masking tape. It's really wonderful to use while we're working on some of our pen and ink works. It's also nice to, if you have a drawing board that you're working on, it's something that you can apply tape to so that it will hold your paper. All right, so we have some of these supplies in here. You can see some of our pencils. And this is kind of what we're going to be needing: our kneaded eraser and your Conte crown and your vine charcoal and our compressed charcoal. All right. The last thing I'm going to say is that you probably do want a drawing board. Now, you can just find a piece of wood or something that's a rigid surface. Now, if you don't have one, that is fine. You can draw on a flat surface like a table, but really we want to have our drawing pad faced upwards so that we can draw on a drawing pad. And you can look at dickblick.com on my Dickblick U to see what a drawing board looks like. Extra tools that you might want to use include a toolbox, a smock so that you don't get this really dark charcoal on some nice clothing, and a retractable eraser. A retractable eraser is something that you could get at an office supply store. Really simple, but really helpful when we're doing detailed work in charcoal. All right, these are all the supplies that we'll need for the class, other than the sketch pad, and the big drawing pad. All right. Remember, materials can be purchased at the Art Box. Their number is here below, and they have strange hours between Monday and Friday. I believe they're open between 10 and 6 p.m. You can also get supplies at Michael's at Barracks Road Shopping Center. But due to COVID-19, I think a lot of students prefer buying things online. So you might go to dickblick.com. I have a link right here, and I will also have a link on Canvas so that students can access the Dickblick U link. And this way, students can access all the supplies that I'm expecting you to use in the class. I also have some recommended supplies, and those are really up to you if you want to use them. I think that they would be helpful, but it will add to the budget of your supply list. I want students to review the week-by-week schedule on their own. It is subject to change because of the flexibility of the class. Every class is different from one another. Like I said at the beginning, that drawing is much like a language. We're going to be building skills as we move through this class. If I notice that this class as a unit is moving slower through certain topics, we may slow down. But I'd like for each student to review it. This is the content that's going to be covered during the class session, and it gives you an idea of how the flow of the class will work. One thing I don't mention on this week-by-week schedule is I will be posting stuff twice a week on Canvas. So it's really important for us to understand that even though it's one subject that we'll be covering per week, you will have two things to cover. You might have an exercise that you do on a Monday, and on a Thursday, I might post a sketchbook assignment. So students have a continuity throughout the class. It also helps me as an instructor work with you individually so I can see your progress throughout the weeks. I'm really excited to work with each and every one of you. This is going to be a great semester. I cannot wait to see what we create throughout the fall. Again, meet me in Zoom or email me if you have any questions or need any assistance. Good luck and look forward to a wonderful semester. Take care.